Hello and welcome to LuckyMath. In my earlier videos on this playlist, I always said that the exponential functions are the following. f of x is equal to a to the power x, where the base a can be any real value which is greater than 0 and not equal to 1. Notice that this is the same as a is greater than 0 and a shouldn't be 1. And the argument x can be any real value. So in this video I'm going to point out why this condition right here, which is the same as this, has to be fulfilled. And for this, let's just look what would happen if we would set, for example, a equal to 1, which it shouldn't be. So let's set a equal to 1. And then the function would look like this. F of x would then be 1 to the power x. And 1 to any power x will just equal 1 again. So this would be a constant function, and this is not an exponential function. Therefore, we exclude the value a equal to 1. Now, let's look what happens if we set a equal to 0, which it shouldn't be either. So if a equals 0, then our function would be f of x equals 0 to the power x. And you say, what's the problem? That's always 0. But you forgot the case where x can be minus 1. And notice that x can be any real value in exponential functions. So also the value minus 1. And therefore, this would lead us to f of minus 1, which would be equal to 0 to the power minus 1. And this is the same as 1 divided by 0. And I hope that you know that you should never divide by 0. So this, again, is a case that is not possible for the base a. Now, if we look at negative values, then I'm simply going to do an example. For example, a equals minus 1. What would happen if a equals minus 1? F of x would look like this. And now again we have the problem that x can be any real value. So x could, for example, also be 1/2. And if we set this into the function, f of 1/2 would be minus 1 to the power 1/2, and this is the same as the square root of minus 1. And I think that you know that you should never take square roots of negative values, because let's say this is equal to y, then y is equal to the square root of minus 1. If we square this on both sides of the equation, then what we get would be y squared is equal to minus 1. Can you find a y for which this equation is satisfied? If y is positive, it will give you a positive value if you square it. If you take y as a negative value, then again this would be a positive value. So you can't find a y which satisfies this equation. And you will always find this problem when you take values for a which are less than 0. So this again is not possible. And therefore we are stuck with this condition. Thanks for watching, rate the video, subscribe, and see you soon again on LuckyMath.